All right, let's look at your translation work. Anybody have a specific question on translations here? Let's look at number 4. I have imrina. This is amar with a Keurig and a Keurig yod at the back end. Who knows what form of amar that is? And what stem? Yeah, so this is cal imperative to FS. Do you remember how in the cal imperative you get that Keurig? It's pakod, pikd, pikdu. Okay, so it's imri, imru. So this is a 2FS. So tell, and then this na usually goes with particles as a particle of entreaty with volitional forms. You could say tell please. Achoti at. So tell or say my achot. What is that? My sister at you. Say my sister you means say my sister are you. There's a copula that is implied here, okay? Say you are my sister. Lama'an, in order that, this we got this quite a while back, didn't we? In order that yitav. Yitav. My root is yod, tate, bet. The yod is missing, but it kind of shows up as a mater, right? And what does yatav mean? To be good, right? To be good. So in order that it may be good for me, that is to say that things might go in my favor, that it may go well with me, ba'avorech. What's ba'avor? Because of, for the sake of, and for the sake of who? What's the kaf pronoun? Yeah, that's 2FS. So this is Abram saying this to his wife Sarai, right? So that's why it's 2FS over here. Hey woman, say that you are my sister, that it may go well for me on account of you. All right? Yeah.
Could that be that he might be good to me? I'm not the king, or would that be a different stance?
No, you actually, I suppose you could say that, but when you actually perform acts of goodness to do well, it's usually hifil, and this is the cal. I've got the Keurig yod under that yod. If it were hifil, it would be a seri yod, and then I'd have an I-class vowel under the tav, right? Hey, tiv, yetev, and so forth. Okay, other questions? Okay, let's look at number 10. Who is ani? I. Levadi or levadi. Levad is alone, or levadi? I alone, or I by myself. No tarti. Let's just look at the easiest thing to look at, which is the backside. The T ending is probably what? Perfect 1CS. Now, I have a no prefix before tar. No tar. So, I've got to be thinking this is the nifal, because the nifal has a noon in the perfect, doesn't it? If that's the case, then I'm only seeing 2 root letters. Which 2 are they? Second and third. Root 1, is it somewhat visible here? Yeah, in the form of the holem vav, right? Which means my verb is a 1 yod verb that was originally 1 vav. Is yathar a verb we've learned? Yes. And it means to, in the nifal, to remain or to be left over. So I alone remained or was left, and then Eved Adonai. A servant or the servant of Yahweh. V'ha'am, and the people, Uzavo. Uzavo. What is this? been a while since we've actually looked at a form like this.
Azav plus the suffix.
Okay, so this is the verb azav, and this holam vav is not a personal ending, is it? I don't have any personal endings that are holam vav in the perfect or the imperfect. Okay, so what do I have? There's no prefix here, so I'm thinking this could be a cow perfect, but normally the cow perfect is azav. But what happens when I add pronominal suffixes to the perfect? I get like that. I'm going to see some vowel changing happen, right? The accent is going to be on the end. This is going to be open and pretonic. It will lengthen, and this will be open and proprotonic, and it will reduce. Okay? Vocal shavab, but I've got a guttural here, so it goes to compound shavab. So that's what this is. This is a cow perfect with no ending, 3ms, plus a pronominal suffix. Okay? So he, referring to the people, right? The people forsook him. Who's the him? Adonai. So I alone am left, the servant of Yahweh, and the people have forsaken him. All right? It is possible. You could see amim as people. You could see it pluralized. You could also see the singular used and the verb plural. Just like in Great Britain, they say the team are winning. So they use a singular collective noun plus a plural verb, which is interesting. Other questions on the translation work? Yes.
So also about number 10, would it be wrong to say, I alone am the servant of Yahweh? Because you have, like, as for me, I alone am left.
So I alone is good. But we have a normal verb here, a perfect verb, so I wouldn't make it a copular verb. I wouldn't say I alone am the servant of the Lord, but I alone am left, right? I alone am left or remain, and then the servant of the Lord comes after that. Okay? Good. Other questions? Let's read the text together. Ready? Im avonot tishmor ya Adonai mi ya'amod ki imcha ha-salicha lema'an tivare. Okay. So, Lester, how far did you get? Far along did you get in this? You want to tell us how you translated this?
I really had a problem with this number, especially.
Mm-hmm.
So first, I was able to get some verbs, shamar,
Yes.
from tishmor,
Yes.
Adonai, and that seems to be like a imperfect.
Yes, tishmor is an imperfect here. That, by the way, you are rightly translating that as more. Why are you taking that as a short O, a kametz ketuf? Which is right. But why? What is this line called here? Makef. What happens to the stress on the word before the makef? It gives up its stress, and so this syllable is closed and unaccented because the accent's on yah. So it's the kasrul, right? So this would have been a holam tishmor with a holam, and it becomes kametz ketuf because I have a short vowel needed for the kas rule. Okay? So So if you, this is imperfect to MS, as you mentioned imperfect. If you, shamar is to keep, guard, observe. Okay, so if you keep avonot, what's that? Iniquities. And then I have Yah. So, Lord, this is vocative in its role. So it's who the you is that we're addressing in this 2ms imperfect. So you could translate it as, if you, O Lord, keep iniquities. Now, what does it mean for the Lord to keep iniquities? Does he like have a little piggy bank and he sticks our sins in it? Yeah, the idea is keeping them in terms of keeping them in mind, or keeping them in terms of a list. Yeah, if you note them down, right? And then if that happens, then the question as a result of that is, Adonai mi ya'mod. Here's another vocative. O Lord, mi ya'mod. What's that mean? Yeah, from amad, to stand. So who could stand? Okay. So this also is a cal imperfect. You see the holum theme vowel that I normally want, right? But I also have an A-class prefix vowel with the katef, the compound shiva. Why is that here? Yes, one guttural, right? The ayin to guttural prefers an A-class, so sort of set of vowels along with the compound shiva here. So that's cal imperfect, right? And 3ms. Now, how have we been translating imperfects usually? Just simple future, right? Who will stand. But it does seem very likely that this is one of the modal nuances of who could do it, right? What's the possibility of standing if the Lord is marking down our iniquities? What's that? Well, I mean, who shall stand? That is a question, but this is a question as well, right? It's a rhetorical question because the answer is nobody, okay? But I think this really has to do more. He's probably asking more about the possibility of doing it. So I'd say who could, or who can stand? Meaning, who can stand before you? You're the judge, right? And you don't forget if you are marking or remembering or keeping these in mind. And then I have a key. Now, what are the possibilities for key? Because that, and there's another sense of the key that's really important here. Okay, well, you could have when, yes, but there's another important sense of the key. For, okay, but there's another important sense of the key. And it's the word but. That is to say, a key can also introduce what's called an adversative clause, a clause that is stated as the counterpoint to something. Like when God tells Sarah, no longer will your name be Sarah, but Ki Sarai. I'm sorry, no longer will your name be Sarai, but Ki Sarai. Sarah. And I think that this might be the case here. So, but with you, hasiliha, I've got a copular clause. I need to add the copula. But with you is saliha. What is that? Forgiveness. But with you is forgiveness. Lama'an, therefore, tivare. Or you could also have in order that. Tivare. Yeah, you will be feared, or you may be feared. Okay, now take a look at this tivare. This tav seems to be functioning as a prefix tav, right? So how many root letters do I have here? Is that a shurik or is that a vav with a doubling dot in it? That is a real vav, isn't it? If it were a shurik, I'd have a tav with a kirik, a shurik, and a kametz. 3 vowels. Can't do that in Hebrew, right? You could have 3 cherries lining up for a a slot machine, but you'll never see 3 vowels lining up together, right? That would be the jackpot, though. So what I have is 3 consonants here, consonant vav, Russian aleph. Do I have any verbs that look like this? Vara. No. What is this going to be written as? Yeah, that first vav will be a yod, right? And so this is the verb yara or yare, which means to fear. Which stem is this prefix tav part of? Is it the kal, the nifal, pl, pual? What have I got? It, a. The doubling dot in root 1. That's nifal. Yippakade. Right? Yippakade, tippakade. So this would be yivare, tivare. All right? So this is definitely a nifal. And if the kal means to fear or be afraid, nifal would be to be feared, right? So tivare, you are, will be, may be feared. Remember, my imperfect can have other nuances besides just the futuristic nuance. And with this lama'an, which can introduce purpose, so that you may be feared is a good possibility. All right? So, nifal imperfect and then 2ms. All right?
I guess I was also confused with the word forgive.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that in our
I don't think that you've come across the verb salah. So, but this is a noun that's related to that idea. So, silicha is forgiveness. All right. This is one of the penitential psalms that we see in the Psalms. It's interesting because, from what I understand, Augustine loved the penitential psalms, and as he was dying, someone asked him, "Which psalms would you like me to read to you?" And he said, "Psalmi Paulini," the Pauline psalms. And what he meant by that was the penitential ones. He had recognized that there are places in Paul's writings where he also confesses his great sin, but in order to do what? To magnify the great forgiveness and grace of God. And often in these penitential psalms, you see that too. Okay, well, what else?